Okay, real quick, I'm gonna go over the 3 motorcycle accidents I've had and what I've learned from them. And, I really feel that I am the safest on 2 wheels that I've ever been. And a large part of that is due to what I learned in the course of these 3 accidents. So the first one is, let's see, approximately 20 years ago, give or take a year or two. But the last one, I couldn't sleep because I was kind of hungover. So it was a Saturday morning, and I went out after work with a friend and had enough drinks where I was feeling less than perfect when I woke up. And anyone that's had a few nights out drinking, my sleep wasn't that good, so I was up awake at like 4:30 in the morning, completely unable to sleep. So I was like, okay, well, let's just walk the dog now and get ready for a ride up into the Malibu canyons. I lived in Brentwood at the time, and I had a Kawasaki 1500 Mean Streak made in the year 2000. So that was the first Mean Streak, the first year, and it did have this nice big V twin. I don't think Mean Streak, it's part of the Vulcan line. I don't think the Vulcan Mean Streak Kawasaki still has the 1500. It's more of like a 750 now. But so I had a Cobra exhaust. I put on Cobra floorboards. I loved that. That was my first official cruiser. And it was also the first stock bike with drag handlebars. And it had the front brakes off the 900 Ninja, which I had owned at one time. But so you had great stopping power. You had the dual disc front brakes. Anyways, so I rode up there with not too much protective gear, and I did Tuna Canyon. Tuna Canyon is one way all the way down this canyon, and you kind of have a wide street, so you can start real on the outside of the corner and really cut that inside corner. And it's just you have no traffic to worry about. It's one way, and the road's not really used very often. So you usually have no one behind you, no one in front of you, and no one coming at you, and you just have these turns. Well, I loved this, and I got a little bit cocky on this road from doing it so much. I knew every turn, just how to gauge it. Well, in my hungover state of mind, my skills were diminished, and I threw this thing into a left-hand turn right out of a right-hand turn. So I'm leaning hard. These Cobra floorboards could bend up when they would scrape. So I'm scraping a floorboard in this right-hand turn. And I loved how you went immediately into an aggressive left-hand turn out of this aggressive right-hand turn. So I threw it over too hard. And my floorboards hit. So they went as far as the maxed out on bending up. But I threw it over so strong that the back tire jumped up. If I had to guess, I wasn't looking in that direction, but if I had to guess, 2.5 to 3 feet, the back jumped up. Completely bucked me off like a horse. And then I'm sliding on my belly. I went down at probably like 30. And so I'm sliding on my belly, and the bike comes down on my back. So the ergonomics of that, I don't understand, but it bucked up, I went down, and the bike came down on my back. So now I'm sliding at like 15, 20 miles an hour with the bike on me. So while I'm sliding, I had enough time and enough wherewithal to actually start to roll over. I rolled over. I don't know why I was so determined to get this motorcycle off me. Maybe it was a good thing. All that extra weight makes more friction. So while I'm sliding, I rolled over and kicked the bike off me. Came up with, really bloody left leg and a slightly bloody right leg. 2 huge holes put in my jeans. And other than that, just a huge scrape on the left side of the tank, which caused me to actually sell that motorcycle. But what I learned from that one, to make these smooth, every churn has to be smooth, and to not go riding hungover. But I almost never drink anymore, and much less if I do drink, I never drink too much. Okay, so that's the last accident. The one before that, I was about 18. I think I was still just a couple months shy of graduating high school. And I met this guy that moved over here from Ireland to make $1 million. He was like my age. He was with his girlfriend, so he's just a teenager, and he got up the guts to move to America with his girlfriend. They had this little tiny 1-bedroom apartment right next to Star Liquor, where I had good memories as a kid, because my dad had an account there, and that was on our path coming home from surfing. We'd have to walk like 1.5 miles from the bus stop. And so we'd stop in there and we could get free candy and just say, put it on my dad's account. It was great. But he lived in the same building as that liquor store. So that liquor store had 1 apartment attached, because they had their liquor store back storage room and this 1 apartment. It's really rare to have that. But anyways, I liked this guy, and he was in love with my motorcycle. I had a 1976 Honda 554, just 550, and then the word 4 for 4 cylinders into 4 pipes. And it was that beautiful blue version, kind of like this, that they had. And so he was like, take me for a ride. I was like, let's go right now. We had a couple beers. So he jumps on the back, and literally half a block away, this like family sedan, like an old Nissan Datsun, remember they were called Datsun, starts to just slow down in the middle of the street, no turn signal. So I just got this guy in the back to show him a good time, so I try to gun it on the inside. Right when I commit to going past him on the yellow center divider, he flips a left-hand turn into his driveway. This is a residential street. So I lock it up, and I'm sliding sideways. He's on the back of me, and we slam up sideways. I'm like same degree as this car. So this car is completely sideways. I'm completely sideways going down the road. And my his peg, the rear peg, puts a hole in the door. And both of our right legs get a little bit squished in between the door and the motorcycle. But this is the old days. He said, you know what, let's just forget it. I'll take the ding on the door, you guys take your mangled legs, and everybody goes home. We'll call it a night. Good deal. No blood, no foul. So what did I learn from that one? I learned always, if they're slowing down and they're not using a turn signal, give them time and space. You don't know what they're going to do, right? Heck, they could throw it in reverse for all you know. Just when they're not giving you any indicator, wait. So the best thing that is in common between these two, I'll get to in a minute, because the third one will tie it all together. So about like maybe only 6 or 7, 8 months before that accident, I write in my little journal. I kept a little journal, and I said, everyone's telling me that all new motorcyclists go down once in their first 6 months of riding. So I had been riding 5.5 months, so I write in this journal, I'm gonna disprove this little wives' tale that everyone goes down once in the first 6 months, because I'm just 2 weeks from breaking that. So a week later, there's an entry in the same journal. I didn't make it, and I have a drawing of me crashing on a motorcycle. But so this one, my brother's coming over, and at this time we were legally allowed to not wear motorcycle helmets in California. That works in the story in a minute. So I'm waiting for my brother to come by to take this about like maybe 3.5 mile ride to our barbershop. He's on his old like 67 Triumph Tiger, and I'm on my 554 Honda Super Sport. So he comes by, I get on, and I have my helmet locked on the right side of the seat. There was a helmet lock just below what would be the rear passenger's leg, and you have to open the seat. The seat would go up on a hinge, and you'd have a lock there, and then you'd close the seat, and the helmet would be locked, like right behind where that passenger's back leg would be. So like real close to his rear end, or her rear end. So I have the helmet there, and now I'm leading, and we get onto Beverly Glen, which is a real nice curvy street. We get on in between Wilshire and Santa Monica, and then just about a block south of Santa Monica on Beverly Glen, I hit oil, just my back tire, and I have a really competitive, insecure, older, narcissistic brother who got very offended if any of his little girlfriends used to say how adorable I was. He'd throw temper tantrums. So he was very upset that I was kind of coming into my own. I was 18 at the time. I was about to graduate high school as the most valuable player on the swim team and the team captain. So I was kind of like this guy that was blossoming out of this little tiny guy that just used to watch TV the majority of the days after school. And I was coming into my own. And we'd actually I'd stood up to him a couple times, telling him to stop telling me how to dress. I'm almost a grown man. I can go to war and die, and you're still telling me what music to listen to, how to dress. Leave me the F alone. And he didn't like hearing that, right? He was supposed to be my God. That's the way he had raised me, because my father was an alcoholic. Anyways, I'm getting off the subject. So he was more of my dad than my dad. My dad wanted nothing to do with it. He was triangulated against me. He was an alcoholic and triangulated against me by my covert narcissistic mother. So too much information, but so my brother kind of got what he wanted from me, like a God status and no arguments, just yes sir, up until I started, kind of 16, 17, and then 18. And so it may have been oil put on the back tire, because right here I'll explain why I suspect that. So it's only on the back tire. That's strange. And two, first I'm taking a left-hand turn, and it first started sliding out during my left-hand turn, the back tire. So then I lean forward and try to avoid the brakes, but give it just enough gas where the back tire could catch. And I'm putting my weight over the tank so that back tire will get its grip back, but it wouldn't get a grip. It went all the way over, and I fishtailed to the left, and then it went all the way back, fishtailed to the right. So now it's 3 slides. Went all the way back to the left again, all the way back to the right again. That's 5. So it went all the way back, a 6th slide. The oil was not going to come off. So that's what makes me think someone put oil on my back tire. The 6th time, I come with so much force that the peg hits and high ends me. So now I'm flying like 35 miles an hour like Superman, like 8 feet high in the air, just straight forward, just like as you would fly as if you were Superman. And I'm kind of loving it. It's like, wow, this is cool. I'm airborne like a bird. And I really knew how to fall well. I would always dip this shoulder and roll from all my years of skateboarding. That's why I broke this arm 7 times skateboarding and twice mountain biking, because I would always fall and dip that left shoulder to go into a roll. So I come down, I do the roll, and then the roll, after like 3 rolls, I come up on my feet, come totally with speed. I land on my feet in the center lane where no one's allowed to drive unless you're turning left. And then my motorcycle is still sliding. And as I'm standing there kind of in a state of shock, the motorcycle comes to a screeching halt right next to me. I mean, it couldn't have been done any better. It's like a trick. And then right when it stops sliding, this woman yells out of her second story apartment complex out the window, "Are you okay?" Just like that, I'll never forget. And my response is, "I don't know. I think so." You know, I ended up limping for like 3 months on this bad left leg. It was really swollen and bruised, but no broken bones. And what I learned about that would probably be checking out your bike a little bit before you get started. And 2, just staying calm, you know, because I think I stayed relatively calm throughout that whole thing, and it could have been a lot worse if I had just locked up the brakes. Because that whole time I was fishtailing, I was dropping in speed. So I was probably at like 50 when I started, and I was only like maybe 30, 35 when I got launched. But always believing I can get away, I can find a way out of this, you know, because I had that mindset. I stayed calm, and I think that's what allowed me to keep riding, keep walking. But the main thing that all 3 accidents have in common is reduced speed would have helped in all situations. And the only thing that all 3 accidents have taught me is when calamity strikes, the slower you're going, the better. You know, hoping that you can recover and throw your leg over a motorcycle at some time in the future. That one thing is speed. Decreased speed always works in your favor when calamity strikes. And there's a lot of little things that I learned from each accident that has helped to make me the safest rider I've ever been. But, you know, I hope that resonated with someone. I hope you're able to learn something from that. All 3 accidents were relatively minor. I've been lucky and very blessed in that way. And I feel I've learned a great deal from each and every accident. But the main takeaway is reduced speed really works in your favor. And your number's out there. You know, it's a little bubble that's floating around. And the more you ride, the more cognizant you are of what the dangers are, and the more fresh they are in your mind. But then you can ride so much that you're now threatening the possibility of that bubble that's out there floating somewhere coming right into your chest, fighting this windscreen and just coming right into you and hitting you. So there's a fine line between riding a lot so that you're knowledgeable and be able to be safe that way, and all of your main skills are automatized. They kind of become automatic without having to really think in the forefront of your mind. But then if you ride like hours and hours every single day, you can get cocky, and that number that's floating out there somewhere is bound to bang into you. So that's all I got to say on the subject matter. Hopefully it resonated. Hit like or dislike, leave a comment, share this video. God bless you all.